Miscellaneous minds, never explaining the minds. Devilish grin for my alias, aliens who respond. Peddling sin, thinking maybe when you get old you realize I'm not gonna fold or demise. I don't smoke crack, motherfucker, I sell it.
What is going on, everybody? This is the Miscellaneous Minds podcast. I'm your co-host, Puma Gato, the cat that hands you your speculation back. And to my left over here is the main man, Assistant the man that makes the fat stacks. Taking away from that dynamic duo that won't die. Then the ATA's brothers and spice your content to your girls only fans. What is going on, everybody? Before we get into tonight's topic, please make sure to like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit. And with that, let's get right into it. So, we got a fight that's, I'm not going to lie, it's interesting. I normally am not a huge fan of when I see Dana White trying to push a fighter, just because they become one of Dana White's boys. And you guys know how we feel about Dana White's boys. I'm not a fan. So, Paddy Pimblet versus Tony Ferguson. Here's why this fight is interesting to me. Here's why I'm surprised by this matchmaking. I know a lot of people are complaining about it because they're saying, look, Ferguson is 0-6 and Pimblet's 6-0. It's not a fair fight. Listen, I'm interested in this because the reality of the potential for Pimblet to get knocked out is very real. To lose is very real. Yes, Ferguson is in an 0-6 streak. Not great. If he were anybody else, Dana White would have told him, get the hell out. But those 0-6 have been against top-tier contenders. Contenders that, let's be 100 here. Let's keep it honest. Would have defeated Paddy Pimblet. Let's be real about that. So, it's interesting to me because I still feel that this is a push to get Pimblet over. He's lost a lot of popularity given his most recent wins. So, it's interesting. It's an interesting fight to me. It might be the first fight that I actually put money on because I do see a potential for Ferguson to win here. He can knock him out. He can beat him. With that being said, it's not out of the realm of possibility for Pimblet to win. And that's the crux of my problem with this fight. Pimblet, much like Sugar Sean, much like a lot of other people that are Dana White's boys, are getting pushed to the moon. And it bothers me because they've been given an easy route, for the most part, to get to where they get to. And I don't want to say... It's not an easy route to beat Tony Ferguson, but this Tony Ferguson is not the best version of Tony Ferguson. So unfortunately, it's a sly move because if Pimblet beats Ferguson, you'll have a reputable name on his win ratio. But it's not the best person to beat. You know, for Tony Ferguson, unfortunately, he's not at his best. I'm a fan. I like Tony Ferguson. I think he's a good guy. A little weird sometimes, but I think he's a good guy. So to have him be served up to Pimblet, it's a little hard. At the same time, Ferguson can win. And not even just win. He can potentially knock him out. What do you think about that, my man?
I do think like his legit only option is to win, but I feel like even if he wins, that's still going to be put into contention. I was like, okay, yeah, but they're still pushing him to the moon. Like, people are already kind of in this narrative. And again, we can kind of see because, again, he's on a 6-fight losing streak. People have been posting montages after montages of Tony Ferguson's athletic acumen from when he was a divisional boogeyman from way back then to him trying to do the stuff that he tried to do when he was younger, trying to do now. When he was cart rolling into a leg bar, knee bar submission to where he's trying to do it now, and it was very easily defended. And even I noticed it particularly in the Nate Diaz fight. You can kind of see it was kind of slow there. And even as much as I love Nate Diaz, like he was throwing bare swing punches. They were pretty slow and telegraphed. For Tony to be bested by that, it doesn't look that great. It's kind of a sad sighting. However, for as much as the narrative is that he's getting fed to a young buck and Paddy Pimblet. Paddy Pimblet is kind of, and this is a sentiment I've seen being shared, he is in a no-win position here. He loses to Tony Ferguson. The rhetoric towards him is like, dude, you got beat by a fucking 40-year-old. Like, you're getting beat by somebody that's already on their way out. Conversely, if he beats Tony Ferguson, it was like, dude, you just got beat by an old fogey. Like, what's really your argument here. I understand, yes, it is a big name in retrospect, but I give you the case of Mirko Cro Cop. Phenomenal man. He like under Fedor Emelianenko, he was his own boogeyman in Pride. Got beat by Brendan Schaub in 2008. Was already on his way out at that point. And got beat by Brendan Schaub of all people. Brendan Schaub. Nobody's looking at Brendan Schaub's record. I was like, well, I mean, he beat Cro Cop. Like, you got to give it to the man. I was like, nobody is giving it to this man. Nobody's giving Brendan Schaub any respect just because he has a win over Mirko Cro Cop. He was not beating a 2002 Mirko Cro Cop. He was beating a late 2000 model Mirko Cro Cop. If somebody says, "Oh, I have a Mercedes," I was like, "Yes, but what year?" Then that's the criticism that you were giving to people. I was like, "Oh, I have a BMW." I was like, "Yes, but what model is it? What year?" Like, "Yes, I have a BMW, but it's, like, it's a 2001." Like, whether or not it's a name on the record, I was like, "Yes, but when did you beat him?" There was no shot in fucking hell that just because he beat a Tony Ferguson does not mean that he beat a Tony Ferguson from the 2012 era. There is no fucking way that just because he has him on his name that it matters anymore.
But it does, because here's the thing. You got to look at it in the scope of when they start building up the fight, they're going to play all the elite shit that Tony Ferguson did. So to the casual fan, they're going to be like, oh, look, this guy's truly skilled. They're not going to see the fogey Tony Ferguson. So some people will be like, oh, look, he beat that guy. Look how skilled he is. Yes, Tony Ferguson is skilled, but unfortunately, my man is past his prime, and I say that with all respect in the world because I fuck with Tony Ferguson. So I get what you're saying. At the same time, he's going to get undue credit. He's going to get undue credit, especially because, let's be honest, who's he going to get the most undue credit from? Dana fucking White. He beat Tony Ferguson. Who could beat Tony Ferguson? Like, he's going to get the credit, undeserved in my eyes, but he's going to get it. But I mean, at the same time, yeah, he's slow. I get what you're saying.
I wasn't trying to say look, man, time is the most undefeated fighter of all time, boxing or MMA. It's like, yo, he's like, it breaks my heart and it breaks a lot of people's heart. And like, look, we want to see Tony fight, but at the same time, we don't want to see him fight, especially not like this. At some point, it's only a matter of time in any roster, whether it's UFC, whether it's one championship, whether it's Bellator, that the kings of the division of the yesteryear are going to get fed to the young bucks of today. It's death and taxes. It's unavoidable at this point. And for somebody as hungry as Tony Ferguson is, and even look, I'll even include Wonderboy Thompson in this. Again, he has an upcoming fight. I forgot the dude's name, but he looks like a monster. Can't remember at the top of my head. I'm like, cool. I like Wonderboy. I want to see him fight. As soon as I saw that fight announced, I was like, dude, Wonderboy's gonna get steamrolled.
Rachmanov.
Yes, Rachmanov. Thank you. As soon as I saw it, I was like, yo, they're feeding him to the wolves at this point. It's gonna happen. It's a damn shame, but it's gonna happen. And the unfortunate reality is that I don't think Tony Ferguson, I don't think Wonderboy, and there's one other person I couldn't think of. Well, I think Nate Diaz, to a certain extent, before that whole debacle with Hamza was happening, I think they never really were Dana's boys. Dana's hand was forced into promoting them because the fan reception for them was just way too high. Especially with the whole weight situation that happened with Wonderboy Thompson, that whole debacle of, okay, well, he doesn't want to take the fight. I mean, what more can we really do? That whole bullshit of, no, I wanted the fight. He just didn't want to give me one. And now Dana was like, all right, fine, we'll give him a fight. Rachmanov, there you go. We'll give him Rachmanov. And at that point, Wonderboy has to take that fight, because at that point, if he says no, he's basically proven Dana right at that point. So he's like, okay, we'll give you what you want, but it's really what I want. What I want to see. I want to see you get steamrolled, and I want you the hell out of my federation right now. They're giving us what we want, but they're giving us the monkey's paw version of what we want. He wants these people out of the division, and he wants to make way for his specific stars that he wants. Maybe he might not want to promote Rock but he definitely wants to promote Paddy Pimblet. And he gets a twofer for this. Paddy gets a dub, Tony gets out. It's as simple as that. He gets the best of both worlds, in which he feeds his men and he feeds the old guard out. It is a sad thing to see, because legit, nobody wins in this. We want to see Tony get a dub. Some of us don't think that's going to happen. It's a possibility, but at the very least, some of us that think it's a possibility is going to be a 60-40 split. Wonder Boy's case, it's an 80-20 split. 80 that he's not going to take it, 20%, maybe he might clinch it. We don't know.
So who do you think is going to win between Ferguson and Pimblet?
I think Paddy Pimblet has gotten a little too overconfident in his abilities. I think he won his last one by split decision, right? And that's what the... Yes, thank you. Frank reminded me. I think that he thinks that he got robbed during that fight, but he really just didn't put on that big of a performance. I think Tony is... I think he thinks Tony is going to be a steamroll. It's going to be a wash. It's going to be a fucking squash match. It's going to be an easy win. Tony has to realize that I have to give it my all at this point. I think Paddy's going to underestimate him, and I think he's going to kind of give it, but not really. It's like, I don't really have to put all of my effort into this. I can definitely eat cheeseburgers and pizzas and sodas until the fight, and then just wash off all that weight. We're going to be fine. We're good. Tony is going to try and give it his all at this point. And at that point, he's 6 fights down. He has to. He has to give it his all at this point, because otherwise, what else is there left for him to do? If he wants to fight, he wants to fight.
So who do you think is going to win, my man?
60% of me says Tony, 40% says Pimblet.
I'm going to go Tony on this one, man. I believe in him. I know he's down, but I want my man to win. I don't want another one of Dana's boys to get that dub. But my heart says Ferguson. My brain says Pimblet. Anything else you want to add to that, my man?
Nah, I think I'm good.
With that, like, comment, hate, subscribe, DM us about the bullshit, and...
Till next time, get rest and stay blessed. We'll see you on the next one.